Welcome back to DFL. Our guests are GISEL CALVILLO of MAC Cosmetics and KEITHA Glass of Slugel.com. For the men watching, let me just remind you, this is a special time. All right, I want you to be honest to the ladies in your life about how you feel about them wearing makeup. That when makeup is applied properly, it's quite a turn on for you. Now, I'd like you to do this to them, okay? Just let them know. Now, a study focusing on men's feelings towards makeup made some discoveries, like men don't like looking at mascara running down a woman's face, especially the following morning. Or men don't like to see lipstick on women's teeth. Or they don't like the black liner around her lips, you know, especially the thick ones. It's not fashionable, okay? Don't do it. Now, there have been periods in the past few years when, for a variety of reasons, I have put zero care into my appearance, like most of us. However, when I take the time to put on makeup, not only do I feel better, but I'm generally perceived in a better light by other people, and I'm sure it's the same for you. What's your reason for not wearing makeup? I know mine is the combination of not having enough time or not making enough time and not feeling confident about what colors suit me, and actually as well how to apply the makeup, because it's always great when someone else does it for you. It just looks so smooth and everything just blends into one, and because I feel, oh, I can't do that, I just don't bother to try. And I suspect you're very much like that. Now, if you're like me, the following will help. We're going to show you now a selection of pictures, and GISEL, perhaps you can, when pictures go on, you can actually talk to us about them. Yeah. So as the pictures are coming on, let me just set it up. Here's the first picture. Of course, this was KEITHA before. Look at that lovely smile. But this is KEITHA when she's going out and she's running around and not wearing makeup. So, GISEL, over to you. And KEITHA, you can laugh loud. She's giggling, people. Okay.
I think
so what's happening here?
The biggest thing was we were matching up her foundation, and she had expressed that she doesn't like to wear foundation for various reasons, and her reasons were legit. Of basically, her skin was oilier. She mentioned, she said that it was just basically, it would melt off her skin, which obviously with the humidity I completely understand. So there we were just matching up the foundation, and we were doing it to her chest, her shoulder, and her forehead, because those three areas indicate they're usually darker in the skin. So that's what I want to make sure, that her face looks just like the rest of her skin tone, and it's not lighter or darker.
Oh, on her chest as well. Okay.
Yes. So that's after the first application of foundation. So already she has a uniform skin tone, which is what we wanted. And there we were actually doing her brows, which was really, I just had basically drawn in like little tiny hairs. And I had also showed her and told her about, we've seen about the past 3 years in trend in makeup, the fuller brow is in. So the over-tweezed brows are out. It's more of about a natural brow that almost defines the same shape, maybe just a little bit of definition.
But how do you apply it? When how do you actually, is it a stroke vertical up and down,
yes,
or horizontal?
What we had is we added more of like a vertical stroke basically, and almost like the illusion of like drawing in little tiny hairs with that pencil. And that pencil is really, really thin, so it was really easy to achieve that. There we were actually applying an eyeshadow base, and that was because we wanted it to stay on all day. We wanted an eyeshadow not to crease, so that one was called Groundwork. It's like basically a warm neutral brown, and you can apply that as an eyeshadow or as a base, so that when you put the eyeshadow on top, it stays on all day and it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
And so there we have her with the base, the brows, and her skin done, which is the foundation. So you can already see, she's got a beautiful smile, but you can already see it just naturally brightened her face. We didn't really do anything too dramatic. There we gave her some fierce eyeliner. And that was actually, I did two variations. One was actually done with a gel, which is great because it's waterproof, it stays on all day. And then on top of it, just to get it really black, you can see there it's a pen, and it's actually part of the Marilyn Monroe collection. So it's basically like an eyeliner pen. It's super convenient to throw in your bag.
Because it looks so like perfectly, like, not half moon, you know, the little, it's so perfect. But is that because you're so experienced, you can draw that line? And how should we do it? Should we do it in short strokes or one long stroke from the inner to the outer?
I think short strokes are probably the easiest if you haven't ever done it prior. And then there, I think you can get something a lot more even. eyeliner takes a lot of practice. You know, I was telling the story, my roommate, she's a doctor, and she has the best pulse, but she can't do her own eyeliner. So I just, you know, I don't understand that, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a matter of practice and having the right tool. So either a good brush or just the straight up, the pencil or a pen. I mean, nowadays, you know, we have the pens as well, which is really convenient.
Okay, great, okay.
There we were just applying mascara, and she had said that she's got beautiful, long, thick, full lashes. So that was really easy. That we had just done basically 2 coats of mascara, and it gave her these luscious lashes. It opened up her eyes, and it just kind of brightened everything.
I mean, I wish the pictures could stay on just a little bit longer, because when we look at the mascara, because a lot of people, they don't know how to put it on.
Right.
They just, I think they just think, let's just take it from the inner lid to the outer lid.
Right.
On top. But do you put your mascara on what side of the lid? On top and at the bottom?
You know what? You can do actually both, because then you'll get the lash really nice and like juicy and wet, and then that way, like when you're putting it, as it dries, it's going to create more of a texture, and your lashes are fuller and they're thicker. So that's really important. I think you could go from the top, and then you can go from the bottom at the end just to give it that nice curl. And once it dries as well, that's the most important part. You need the formula needs to dry so that if you're going to do a second coat, it actually sticks onto the lashes, and again, you have fuller, lusher, thicker lashes.
All right.
Which every girl wants.
But
okay, great.
I have to say, that was the most dramatic thing for me, because it looked like I had fake eyelashes. I didn't know I had such long, beautiful eyelashes. And when she applied it, it really made a difference. I was like, wow, that's mine.
Yeah. And that was a black.
That was just a black mascara, exactly. And so there I'm going from underneath, as you can see. And here in this picture, this is actually that picture right there. There is, if you can see right underneath the eye, there's almost like this. It looks like a bunch of, it's basically concealer. And that's exactly, excuse me, that's exactly the area that you actually want to apply concealer at. You don't want to fill underneath the eye with all of concealer, because what ends up happening is it's too much product and it ends up creasing.
Okay, what is concealer for the people who don't know?
Basically is usually in a smaller packaging, and it basically will help you like diminish. It has more pigment in it, so it'll help you get away from the dark circles under the eyes, any kind of blemish or imperfection. And it's usually smaller in packaging because it's very potent. You need just a little bit, and that goes a long way. So
I love the concealer, because you can wear it part of making up the eye as well.
Exactly. And like just really brightening the face. And honestly, concealer is the one thing, if men or women like they don't like foundation, I do a lot of stuff with either like television stuff too, and a lot of the times I put concealer on men as well, because nobody sleeps 8 hours a day now. We all have a little bit of a dark circle because again, sometimes we're not as fresh as we would like to be, and concealer just kind of makes everything disappear. It gives you almost 12 hours of sleep.
And it's very natural looking as well.
It's
I mean, for men, that's quite good, because it lifts you up, but it also looks quite natural.
It makes you just look the best that you can be as far as your natural skin, your rested self. And so there we just put it exactly where we needed it, and I put some around the nose, on the chin, and you could see the brush there. I was using, that brush is called the 224, and I was just blending the concealer with that, and not with my fingers, because with that brush it just leaves more of like a flawless blended, it kind of goes onto the skin. That's why it's important
you have brushes. A lot of people, they don't get the brushes. You know, and look who's talking. I bought the brushes and I'm looking at them, but they're so pretty.
They're so pretty, right? Yes, I can't blame you, I have to say. There we were lining the lips. And another big trick, if you line the lips, that actually is just with a nice lip liner, and that one was called Mahogany. It was a really pretty kind of like a burnt orangey red color, and we were lining the lips softly and coloring them all entirely in. And what that does is it'll make the lipstick go on. It'll make a uniform color so that your lips are all one color, and it just kind of keeps the lipstick on for, I mean, she actually had it on for hours, really. I just barely touched it up now, but you know, it really keeps it on.
So you can line your lips with that lip liner and then fill it in.
Yes, and then fill it in completely, almost as if it was a lipstick. And that's just going to hold the color on for longer, and it's going to make the color truer to whatever the color is supposed to be.
Okay. Well, why is it that a lot of people think that in order to define the lips properly, you have to have a darker color, hence the black?
Yes. You know? Because you know what, that reminds me of just the 90s. That's more of something that we used to do. And I think, you know, probably the past 100 years of makeup, not to go too historical, but it really has become an evolvement of you know, really getting it right between shades and you know, ombres and basically shading and contouring and adding light to the face and adding a little bit of the blood and the rouge and all that stuff. So now we've evolved, and now we don't have to draw the darker line around the lips, and you have something like a lip liner like this, and it still adds that fullness and the prettiness of what a lipstick should look like.
I'm looking at this picture and I can see the lips are filling in quite nicely, but I'm still looking at those eyes. Look at the edge of the eyes. There's a little
lip.
Little lip, you know.
There's a little flick.
Oh my gosh. Now, if someone showed me that picture, I wouldn't say that was KEITHA straight away. I'm sorry, KEITHA. I wouldn't say that was KEITHA straight away. I think I know that face. I know that face, but it would not click. So, KEITHA, I mean, come on. I mean,
okay, the pressure's
you
on.
would not blame me. You wouldn't yeah, the pressure is on because I'm going to be keeping an eye on you now. This thing about getting up in the morning and not, it's not on anymore.
My hairdresser probably is going, yay.
Yes, she's getting a public telling off. So anyone who knows KEITHA Glass, look how wonderful and pretty she looks tonight. Please make sure that if you see her or catch her without any form of makeup,
I'm going to be reprimanded.
just tell her off, please. Because look how beautiful she looks.
Thank you.
You know, and I'm sure your partner, when you go home tonight, not many words will be said, but that's another thing. So that's great. So KEITHA, we're laughing, but I'm serious.
I'm serious. I'm going to really make an effort.
See, look at that. Oh, lovely.
Make the time to do it, you know.
I mean, for someone who doesn't wear makeup very often, how does it make you feel?
It made me happier, brighter, livelier, energized. These are the words that come to mind. You know, makes me different. Makes me smile more. I already smile naturally anyhow, but now I smile even more.
And the good thing about, you know, having, you know, makeup like that is, to me, it looks really natural.
Yes.
And we all love, women, we love to have our face looking good and also our hair looking really good. But the good thing about learning to apply your makeup the way that it is right now is if your hair doesn't look good, bang goes the ponytail, you know, or the, you know, or turban or something.
Yes.
But at least the face looks good.
Yes.
You know?
I agree. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Have a committed promise. I think the most important thing to know too is that two things. I think usually with MAC, there's either the misconception of it's only for young people, it's only for teens because there's so much color and there's nothing for me. And I think it's really important that people really understand that we really have something for everybody. And so for me, it was such a privilege to do her makeup and to, you know, also kind of combine myself with her lifestyle, because I asked her a lot of questions because I wanted to do something that she would like, not something that I would like, but something that she would. We wanted the best version of who she is. I did nothing. I mean, I brought out more of exactly the beauty that I saw when I met her. You know, her eyes are beautiful, her lips, she's got a great smile, she's got beautiful skin. So all we did was just kind of take it a little bit to the next level, but it was something very simple. A couple steps were made, we went over them, and it's all a practice and a routine, but it's more important that we just kind of always remember that.
Great. And don't forget, viewers, don't think that it just happened tonight. You can visit the MAC store in Baywalk Mall and get exactly that. Last chance to take part in tonight's giveaways. You can win a MAC beauty pack just by telling us your favorite MAC product. Tell us where Mamiko Gardens is located, and also men only, tell us which is the AF Valmore store that is the oldest on the land. Men only. All right? So stay with us. More about beauty, color, MAC, and we'll take your calls after the break. This is Dolor Factor Live, of course, only on DBS.